of our independence. It's coming up. October the 27th, and all sorts of things as usual take place at Independence. The parades, I don't know if the bikers are coming in, they're normally on the runway and things like that, the E.T. Joshua Airport, all sorts of things. Well, this year, just a couple of days after Independence, just a couple of days after all the parades, the night market at the Geese Shed and all those other things. Is the night market at the Geese Shed, Kamal? Is it? I think it is at the Geese Shed, right? Invest SVG normally has an event on the runway. It's going to be at the Geese Shed. And we basically are going to get a ton load of persons coming in. But there's another event that's taking place just a couple of days after Independence, November the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And it's called Cannabis SVG. And we basically are going to feature that. I'm hoping to get a call from one of the participants. And so some of we know you've heard of traditional cultivators. Well, I'm going to have one of the traditional cultivators call. There'll be some other persons who may be calling in, but we're going to look at a couple of topics and so forth and things in relation to that. But I'll be talking about this Cannabis SVG, which is a multifactorial type of event. It's taking place at Arnesville Sports Complex. It's not taking place inside the field itself, but it's going to have a number of other things that uses the facility at Arnesville Sports Complex, such as at the double-decker stand. I'm talking about under the double-decker stand, there's going to be an expo. And this expo is going to feature a number of things related to health, agriculture, and some of the companies that are involved in that whole cannabis industry. And then a little further on, behind Arnesville Sports Complex, behind the media stand, they would have established what's called a traditional cultivators village, made out of bamboo and wood and so forth, where people, well, you remember there was an ITIL Fest? Well, the folks from the ITIL Fest are going to be there. And you remember the folks who normally organize Greg's, the event in National Heroes Day and so forth? Well, they're going to be there. And a number of other entities who are traditional cultivators from around the country who will be there displaying their craft, displaying their art, displaying a number of things. And then there's going to be a series of lectures for doctors, nurses, students, medical students, people who are involved in agriculture, and a ton load of people coming from overseas, from Barbados, from Grenada, from across the region, Antigua, the Bahamas, and so on. And they'll be listening to lecturers from across the globe, from the Netherlands, from the UK, from Canada, from New York, Washington, Florida, persons from across the Caribbean, from Jamaica, Trinidad, and of course, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, talking about various things, explaining what is medicinal cannabis and what are alternative medicine plants. Now, a lot of people may have heard about seed on the leaf and body me eye and part of my life. Well, there are lots of other things. You know, I wonder if people know that papaya leaf, the papaya leaf is now in St. Vincent and maybe across the region an accepted treatment for the prevention of certain viral illnesses like dengue, like chikungunya, like Zika. And the papaya leaf has in a particular compound called carpane, CRPNE, that is very powerful, that helps not only to it's not so much that it gets rid of the virus itself, like dengue, but it stops some of the severe effects of dengue. And we will see this sort of thing, being displayed not only to professional doctors, but also to the public. The public um, who are attending the expo, which is going to be from Friday, 9th of Friday, 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. And Saturday, also 9 a.m., 9 p.m. The entrance to the expo, you'll be able to park on the Arnesville runway and come across. You won't be able to come down and park where Arnesville 2 is. No, you can't do that, because that's now developed as a nice little soccer and foot and cricket field. You park at the runway, come across that road, and come to the back of Arnesville Sports Complex where the scoreboard is, and there'll be an entrance to the expo going on to the double decker. It's going to be quite an event. And it is going to be something that, we want persons to come and attend to find out for themselves, it is going to be a spectacular event. Whether you go to the expo or the Traditional Cultivators Village, or you have had some arrangement and to come to the professional electricity, which is going to take place in the President's Suite. We're using a Mike Finley stand, for some of the larger lectures. So it's really going to be an interesting sort of thing. But on the Sunday evening, starting at 6 p.m., there's going to be a major cultural show, again, to the back of the Arnesville playing field, where you have that great view of Beckway. And there's going to be a number of local performers. And so I don't have all their names, but I should have all their names. But boy, I tell you something. What I do know is the international caller, the international artists, Isasha, Marlon Asher, Bushman, and Christopher Martin. They're going to be there. And it's going to be a very, very spectacular event to culminate and wrap up the whole event. I had expected a call from one of the more notable traditional cultivators this evening, just to have a discussion in relation to their own aspects. The person was trying to call me, but I haven't seen it. And if they, yes, 579997. Yeah. Right. So everybody should understand that St. Vincent de Grenelle has been making a bit of a name with respect to the use of medicinal cannabis for the treatments of a number of things. I want to say medicinal cannabis is not illegal cannabis. And, to see medicinal cannabis being used in the management of pain, to see it being used, and when I talk about pain, I'm talking about migraines, back pain, arthritis pain, to see it being used to stimulate people's appetite, right? To see it also being used for people who might have very severe vomiting and so. But I think we having a caller there this evening. So let's see what it is. Hello, good evening.
Hi, good night, Gerald. Good night.
Good night, good night, good night. Well, I'm hearing all your dogs in the background, and so
Yes. Yes.
you
No,
yes,
this is Spirit Cotton.
Spirit Cotton, yes,
Junior Spirit Cotton.
yes, Junior. I don't think many people call you Junior anymore, right?
No, they call me Spirit.
Yes, I see. Okay, yes.
And the oldest active traditional cultivator in this country.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
I
Let
know.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say a little bit more about but this conversation is about you, about traditional cultivators. I'm not so much. I haven't been talking too much about the medicinal use of cannabis. I haven't been talking a lot about the other plants that have medicinal use. I've mentioned papaya leaf and those other things. But you are an individual who's also, I remember, you have a plant shop, and you also do decorative plants and other type of plants. You are one of the leading entities in terms of an advocate for traditional cultivators. And there is now this upcoming cannabis SVG, which is taking place from November the 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd. Let me say that again. This is Friday, November the 1st, Saturday, November the 2nd, and Sunday, November the 3rd. And it involves a number of different things. I've been telling people a little about this, but one of the things that's been done is that there's the establishment of a traditional cultivators village. And so that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about your engagement as a person who's into plants in general, including your life as one of the proponents or an advocate of the traditional cultivators grouping and movement in St. Vincent and across the region, and maybe I would say across the world. And yes, and additionally, this upcoming cannabis SVG, what does it really mean, and where can it take us? Where can it go? So I'm framing it in that particular sense. And so as you were talking, I know you're going to go on and talk and take angle. I'm framing it in that way. Spirit Cottle, who is a person who's into plants in general, has also been into what's known as the cannabis plant in terms of its cultivation, the oldest traditional cultivator. But in relation to those aspects, we wanted to know a little bit more. And on top of that, this upcoming cannabis SVG, what really does it mean and where can it take us? Go ahead.
Yes, Gerald. Well, I'll tell you something. This is normally your health program.
It is. It still is. It still is.
But tonight, Gerald, this is health with a difference.
Yes.
Cannabis.
Yes.
And the value of medical cannabis globally.
Yes.
Now, before I go on to the festival, in 2018, there was a medical cannabis and amnesty law was passed. And that was about 6 years ago. Now, today, despite the challenges we face, despite the uncertainty that hangs over us, all our stakeholders, and our country as a whole, particularly for traditional cultivators, we are in a mood of celebration, which we are marking by means of a cannabis festival. Now, this festival is expected to last 3 days. The first the 2nd and the 3rd of November. And I want to use this opportunity. I'm so excited, Gerald, and I think that all of us are excited. I want to use this opportunity to encourage everyone, except, of course, persons under 18 years of age, to come and attend this festival, particularly traditional cultivators. Come and see what we have to offer on the cannabis front. Come and see the sort of cannabis that is being displayed, or that will be displayed by our nation's traditional cultivators. Come and listen to the lectures given by persons at the international level, from the regional level, and there's a particular, for traditional growers in particular, there's a lecturer called Dr. Matchell. He lectures at Mona University in Jamaica. And he knows the whole science about the plant. Come and listen to him. Because he's going to tell you about the different stages of the plant. He's going to tell you about the advantages of growing cannabis in an outdoor way. He's going to tell you about the sort of nutrients to give to the cannabis. So traditional cultivators in particular need to attend this festival. You know, Investment is known as one of the best producers of cannabis globally. And that, I think, not only comes because of the experience of our traditional cultivators, but also because of the kind of soil that we have. And Gerald, you know the soil. I can't remember the name.
Yes. Well, you know, not to interrupt you there, but you since you asked that, I don't think a lot of people know this themselves. I mean, across the region, Barbados and St. Lucia, they've experienced it when we've had the unfortunate episodes of the volcanic eruption. Ash from the eruption has fallen on Barbados, has fallen on St. Lucia. And they initially, or in the past, they used to say, oh gosh, this is terrible. But the year after, 2 years after, they've had what's reported to be a bumper cane crop and bumper crop. Yes, they have some issues with the cleanup and so forth from the ash on the roads and so, but from their agricultural point of view, it's been phenomenal. So what's the science behind that? The name of our soil that is more in the north of the country is called Molic Andosol. And a lot of people don't realize it's a very highly fertile soil. It's loose, but it's highly fertile. And it's fertile because of the high phosphate concentration, the substance that you've got to have in soil called phosphate. Phosphate makes things grow. Phosphate makes things grow. And they also have a lot of minerals. One of the things, the minerals are tightly bound, but if treated in the right way, this Molic Andosol, the minerals are easily released, the phosphate levels make things grow, and that is why arrowroot is so phenomenal here in St. Vincent Grenadines. And in the similar way, cannabis too grows very well in the soil of Molic Andosol. So I don't think people, when I was growing up, the spirit, I was told if you plant a Vincentian, they will grow. Kamal, Kamal, have you ever heard that before? Yes. Kamal hasn't heard that one, but I remember hearing that from the older folk. Now, they didn't know that there was a soil called Molic Andosol. They didn't know about phosphate, but our soil, the high phosphate contents, make things grow. Now, clearly, if you plant a Vincentian, they won't necessarily grow. But that was just as something that people used to say in acknowledgement that we had excellent soil. So I caused some deviation there, but I think it's important that people know about that.
It's important. It's important, Gerald, because I'll tell you something. that with that soil and with the experience of our growers, our traditional cultivators, and with the coming of stream of the Medical Cannabis Authority and the coming into effect of the medical cannabis laws, certain standards are required.
Yes.
And so here is where the industry has brought to us, traditional cultivators, the benefit of a scientific approach. So by combining the science of the growth, by combining the science of medical cannabis with our own traditional experiences, with our own traditional knowledge, and our very fertile soil, St. Vincent is poised to be the best producer of cannabis anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Anywhere in the world.
Mm.
And this
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
festival is certainly, with all those exports, with all the lectures that are going to be presented, this festival is certainly going to put us on a different level. I must also mention, Gerald, because it is important that the public knows this, that the village, the traditional Grants Village, is sponsored by a very good friend, a good ally of the Medical Cannabis Authority, a good ally of traditional cultivators, an entity, an organization which wants to see the best for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the best for traditional cultivators, and who have been working globally on cannabis and other prohibited plants. That organization is called Transnational Institute. Transnational Institute is an organization with a lot of experience, and they deal mainly with democracy, and they deal with prohibited plants, and has been championing the cause of traditional cultivators globally, in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, in South America. And today, they have seen the benefit, they have seen the value of the traditional cultivators of St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Yeah,
they have seen the seriousness of the Medical Cannabis Authority.
Yeah.
And so they have come and offered their support by sponsoring our traditional cultural village.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to stop you there because you mentioned Transnational Institute, and yes, for short, they call TNI, Transnational Institute. They are a group from around the world, but they're based in the Netherlands, Holland. And as you say, they bring a lot of experience. They're going to be having representatives here in St. Vincent talking about reform and legal justice and so. But you are absolutely right. They've been here several times before, and they have been advocates. One of the things I've been interested with TNI is the whole subject of fair trade, because it is true that because of standards, there has been a tendency that products that could be traded and that have very high standards that are required. Matter of fact, in my view, the excessive standards that have been required have become something of a barrier to trade. And what I have been pleased about is that even though the traditional cultivator in St. Vincent has always produced very good quality, I have been most impressed how they've learned from various individuals. Like you mentioned, Dr. Michael Emmanuel, and from other persons, and from reading, and to further improve their quality. So we've seen a growth and the ultimate goal is that people will know that the traditional cultivator's product is of such a high quality here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that the demand for it and what Transnational Institute they've been looking at is the subject of trade, fair trade. See, when banana was having a tough time and it could not go through proper trade, they introduced fair trade, where certain specific entities was able to procure and buy that particular product of banana on a fair trade label. And it's my dream that in terms of cannabis from the traditional cultivators could also take another fair trade. Once some of the basic standards are met, where that cannabis is super clean, I would say, that it is of a particular potency, not excessive, not too low, not too high, and that it's being handled in a particular way. And I'm glad that our traditional cultivators are really getting into this, and there's some excellent products, and people will be able to see this. So that TNI, they've really worked, and they're one of the big sponsors of this Cannabis SVG, and we want to applaud them. And I know you are one of the members of the working group in relation to TNI, but, I know they'll be here and they'll be having breakout sessions, they'll be having training, they'll be engaging in traditional cultivators. So we're looking forward to that.
And I'll tell you something, now you talk about the working group, and it came about as a result of certain initiative or encouragement from TNI. There's a Caribbean regional cannabis working group made up of traditional cultivators and academics from Jamaica, from Antigua, from St. Lucia, from Dominica, from Trinidad and Tobago. Member of that regional organization, and we are very supportive of the festival. In fact, to the regional organization, when they compare the entire region and what is taking place, they see St. Vincent as the beacon. They see St. Vincent as the leading state, the leading country. They think St. Vincent has given to traditional cultivators what no other country has given to traditional cultivators.
Yes.
In fact, I'll tell you something, Gerald, and I want the public to hear this. This cannabis festival we are having, it is the fourth of its kind in the region, and I go as far as to say there has never been a festival like this nowhere in the world before. Because there may have been festivals in the United States. I remember I could recall festivals like the Hickory Festival. Maybe there were, that in the 60s. Maybe there were, I think there were festivals in Jamaica. But a cannabis festival hosted by a government entity, think about that, hosted by tourism department, hosted by the Medical Cannabis Authority, with the participation of traditional cultivators. There is no in the world that has ever happened. And that excites me. That will come a lot of interest in the region.
Yes.
Right now, the focus is on St. Vincent. Relative to cannabis, the focus is on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And Gerald, you yourself have been making an excellent contribution. I've heard you make presentation in Brazil. I've heard you make presentation in Antigua, in St. Lucia. And I must tip my hat to you. You are doing an excellent job as the CEO of the Medical Cannabis Authority. And I think that we are on the right path of direction. I really is appealing to the traditional cultivators, come to the festival. I'm appealing to all to come to the festival. Come and see what all, cannabis, traditional cultivators don't only go weed there. We don't only go, we go potatoes, we go ground provision, we fishing, we do craft, we do other medicine. Come and see what all that traditional cultivators has. And you know what is most interesting? If you come to that festival and you smoke cannabis, there's a space for that. There's a space where you can come and go in a secluded area. We're not gonna allow you just to smoke cannabis all over the place like that. But there's even provision for that.
Yes. You know, Spirit, we were about to join by one of the persons who's doing the marketing, but let me get a better perspective. I've got to ask something. You know, there are a number of persons here in St. Vincent who would naturally be concerned that cannabis should be seen as something that trips you off, that has caused some people to go to the mental home and so forth. And whereas there may be some basis for that in certain circumstances, it's amazing that in a number of parts of the world now where cannabis is being used for real medicinal purposes. As a matter of fact, it's being used in drug abuse. People are alcoholic. They're using CBD to get them off of alcohol. People who are on opioids, they're using CBD to get them off of that. Do you know pets and dogs and animals? They are also using CBD for their pain and so on. There's been a powerful presentation that I recently heard where a young baby had surgery on the brain and was given CBD, and it essentially caused significant healing of the brain, such that young baby now 4 or 5 years old is running, walking, talking, when previously, because of the injury to the brain and the surgery that had to be done, they could not basically perform. So you know, it's all these sort of things, and so I don't know what you would say in terms of individuals who would have their concerns after years of hearing cannabis is bad. You know, how do you make the case of the benefits, and so both economic and for medical in this case?
Gerald, I'll tell you something. All substances, anything that they overdo it, anything that they abuse, will cause problems, including cannabis. If you abuse cannabis, it's going to cause problems. But with the medical cannabis industry, we are encouraging a responsible use of cannabis. You have to use it with care. You have to use it with responsibility. I tell you, cannabis has been outlawed over 100 years.
Yes. Well, Spirit, you can stay on the line a little bit there.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, stay on the line a bit. We have another caller coming in, and this is hello. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Dr. Thompson.
All right. You know, I was expecting Crystal to call in, but you call in, you're even better. You know what I mean?
Well, I am still here with you. Steve, come say good night, man. Come say good night. And you asked about the local artists. And
Yes.
Steve is the one leading them. Let me let him speak to that.
Yes. Good night, listeners. Good night, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes.
Steve Wallace here.
Yes.
So we must say the vibes for the Cannabis Festival is great. It's really great. Like, persons are excited, all the influencers, persons from overseas, everybody just excited for next weekend.
Yeah.
Remember, the big Cannabis Festival in St. Vincent and the Grenadines happens from Friday the 1st of November to Sunday the 3rd.
Yes.
And Sunday the 3rd, now, it's the Grand Reggae Concert featuring Christopher Martin, featuring Marlon Asher, featuring Sasha, featuring the legendary Bushman. Yeah, Doc, you can remember the expression of a particular radio announcer when he mentioned Bushman was coming?
Yes. Chris, too cool, Chris. If I could say that, he said, Bushman coming, Bushman coming. But listen, truthfully, Chris Martin, Isasha, Malanasha, Bushman, I want to hear about the local artists, please. I want to hear about the local artists. Tell me about them.
Yes, man. And celebrating our 45th year of independence, we are Vincy proud and Vincy strong. So we have a Vincy strong cast, right? Featuring Abuza, we have Yapatu, we have Niswa, we have Bongo Prime, we have Dynamite, Havlin, Patrick Jr., and a host of DJs. You know what I mean? A really great DJ lineup. So persons who were wondering like what the entertainment package might be like besides the international artists, we have a very strong and proud Vincy cast.
All right, that sounds good. That's what I really wanted to hear. You know me, I'm a little older, but you know for sure, I know the Abuza, the Yafatu, but and I've certainly heard of Bongo Prime. These some really good, it's that's very nice. What else you could say about yeah? Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, you didn't hear about Bongo Prime. You saw Bongo Prime mash up the Cannabis Cup last year. You remember?
Yes.
Stanley Rose song.
Oh.
Talented young man. Talented.
Yes, I remember that. I was there. Yes. What
and
else?
Nizwa did a great job too.
Yes.
When I saw her, I said, Steve, we have to get Nizwa. She did an excellent job. And I'm really happy with respect to the local artists that we have this mix where we have the females coming out and the females are talented too. I don't know if you ever seen have Lean perform. She is really good too.
Well, listen, Tyrell, I've got Spirit on the line, and the thing is that we are trying to do a very balanced mix. There's the lectures, professional lectures. There's the public information. There's the expo, traditional cultivators village. There could be tours to the various certain selected farms. And then there's the show. That whole package, 6-7 elements together. It must be real difficult to put together. You know what I mean? But each one of them seems to be a thing of its own. I mean, a lot of people are going to be there at the expo when the public is invited to go. The traditional cultivators village spirit has been telling me a lot of support for that in terms of the show, the cultural artists component, the international artists component. I mean, it's very impressive. And then the lecture series. I mean, I could start talking about the people who are coming in. I've said which countries they're from. And then the tours, going to these farms to see things actually the professional way these things are done. This is phenomenal. How is that whole thing put together? And I don't want to say how it compares to other countries. We don't want to talk about how these things compare to other countries. But how do you put such a big package together?
I mean, Dr. Thompson, you said it well, and put it together in a framework that you give each area its attention. You treat each area as equally important because each of them they solve an address an objective. So the conference seeks to educate. We have the educational sessions, cultivation, manufacturing, best practices, and critically important, the aspect of the medicinal benefits of cannabis that we want to teach our medical professionals about how cannabis can provide therapeutic benefits. So we have a calendar of activities that we put out today. And on Friday, November the 4th, we're starting with a very robust opening ceremony. It begins 9 o'clock and it goes up to about 11 o'clock based on the calendar of activities. And you will hear speeches, remarks from myself. You can expect remarks from the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Agriculture, and the Prime Minister. And those remarks will be formed. Not a long, boring thing. Form, Frank, how do you build out a medicinal cannabis industry in the context of so many challenges? And we have seen those challenges over the last 5 years in our own experience.
Yeah.
Then after that, we go into the exhibition and the traditional cultivators village. You know, we cut that ribbon and we deem that exhibition and the TC village open. And I'm sure as soon as the opening ceremony ends, and the opening ceremony won't be speeches alone, we will bring the vibes with the cultural performance. You will have the dancers and so forth in the opening ceremony. And so you open the exhibition and the traditional cultivators village. And one of my staff told me tonight, Dr. Thompson, that persons are going around that side because persons are excited. They are hearing about what is taking place around there. They're loving the construction. I believe Spirit was there today, and he too is excited to see the construction coming to you. You know?
Yes.
You know, something that was spoke about over the last month. Steve was around there tonight too, and he too is excited to see, you know, TAC becomes reality.
Okay.
And then during the day, we will have conferences, robust conferences. And I'm encouraging everybody who is listening to get registered online for those conferences, www.cannabissvg.vc. We are seeing, when we started off with the conferences, the registration was a bit slow. And that's typically human nature. Even with tickets, it begins slow, and as you get closer, it starts to uptake. So we are seeing this trajectory. This growth in the registration is going exponentially, Dr. Thompson.
Yeah.
And I'm urging all of your listeners now to sign up and register for your space before all the spaces go.
Yeah.
Because persons are registering.
Yeah.
I'm encouraging persons to not wait till last minute to do so.
Well, Terry, you got a lot to say.
No,
I want to finish up with Spirit, you know. So let me let you go, Terry. You got you and Steve got a lot of work to do. But go ahead, Spirit. You go ahead, Spirit. Go ahead.
Oh my God. Okay, Dr. Tyson, let me jump out. Let me say good night. And we have a packed evening, and we will bring the excitement and the energy to all the components of cannabis.
Sure. I want to hear Spirit now. Thank you for calling. Spirit, you go ahead.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Who is that? Yes.
Dr. Thompson,
Yes.
there's a misconception I want to clear up tonight.
Yes.
And now Terry has spoken. There's a misconception that I want to clear.
Yes.
There is this belief among a great deal of our people that sometimes some people say, so where are you? Say, we not got medical cannabis different than our ganja. No, all weed has medical property. All. But I tell you something. It's the way you do it. It's the standard you apply
Thank you.
in the cultivation of the cannabis. In a traditional in the mountains, for example, we grow some weed. We have dogs in the wheat field. We want to go and defecate. We go by the side of the wheat field or somewhere in the grass, we do it. Sometimes we may not wash our hands. Rats running from the bush into the field. When we talk about medical cannabis, we're talking about make sure your hands are clean. Don't touch any buds. Don't go and urinate and then take the same hand and touch the buds. We're talking about doing it in a healthy, sanitary way. That is one of the things that distinguishes medical cannabis. That's why we call it medical cannabis,
Yes.
because we can't expect to grow weed, sell it in the international market, or even sell it locally to people and it's contaminated with this bacteria, that bacteria. So the word medical is to say that it's done under special conditions with a special approach and in a cleanly way. So not that we're saying that the weed that we have here doesn't have medical properties, but it's the way they grow it, Gerald. And I want the public to know that very clearly. Because if we sell something and it's contaminated and somebody gets sick from it, they could sue you. They could take you before the court.
Yes.
We don't want our traditional cultivators to be sued.
No.
We don't want to bring a bad name on our country. We want when we send medical cannabis overseas or when we sell it locally to our people ain't get sick from it because of some other XP or something getting into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I right, Gerald?
Well, I tell you, you know, Spirit, you've talked very boldly there. There may be some who may be critical of what you might have said, that things were too open, but you were honest, you were frank. You basically hit some nails on the head and emphasize what we talk about in relation to standards. The same thing happened with banana. They said the banana needed to be more straight. There are too much spots on the banana, that it need to have this dietine over it and that and done in this way. You must keep records and so put a ribbon around it when you're gonna cut it in this month, another ribbon around it when you cut it in a different month, a different week. And basically that helped significantly for those persons who abide with it, whereas other persons found themselves when they took their banana, it was rejected because they hadn't stuck to the standards and so forth. Now, you know, I think this is an important area that we so we looking to have. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I tell you something, when we're in the bush and we grow weed, normally we'll take the weed and in order to conceal it, we ram it in a bucket. But how do we ram it? We put the weed in the back bucket and we stand up on the weed and we ram it with our foot. Sometimes we put dirty. All that thing is going on the cannabis. Next thing, sometimes the weed turn moldy more.
Yes.
You can't get people mold to smoke.
Yes.
Some people when they ingest mold, they get breathing problem. We don't want that. That is why we say medical. So the saying medical is nothing in opposition to what we as traditional cultivators grow. But we are saying to the traditional cultivators, our practices must be
well, Spirit, listen, I only have a couple of minutes left. You know, I wanted to speak to you and then those other guys call in with all the other stuff and so forth. Let me apologize to you for that. You know what I mean? But,
no problem,
but in terms of the TC Village, there's going to be idols there and the mixing food production.
Yes.
Let me ask, are traditional cultivators also producing food or just cannabis? What was it? You tell me.
Traditional cultivators produce food. I tell you something right now. Right now, there's a lot of traditional cultivators who have been growing vegetables, and I see them in town, who have been making money from root crops, who have been, a lot of them gone into handicraft and other things like that.
So all those things going to be there, handicraft and so forth.
All those things will be there.
You be bringing out you bringing out some of your other plants as well that you.
My God!
Yeah?
Oh my God! Come and see the plant. Come and see some ornamental plant.
All right. Okay. Well. Kamal is here in the host. He said he's coming. You know, he says he's coming too. You know. Well, listen.
Gerald,
yeah.
Just to see the traditional cultivators coming from St. Lucia.
Yes.
Traditional cultivators, there's a wide cross section of them from the whole region coming in.
Yes.
Because they want to experience St. Vincent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling. Yes. Well, Kamal, thank you. Thank you very much, Spirit. Well, we're right in the end of the program. Have we gone over time yet? No, we haven't still got a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. Well, listen, everybody, Cannabis, SVG, multifactorial. The public, there's a special training session for you on all sorts of things. And Expo, Traditional Cultivators Village. And then for those persons who want to get into the professional aspect of the medicinal benefits and so, you'll be there. November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Friday, November the 1st. Saturday, November the 2nd. And Sunday, November the 3rd. Annersville Sports Complex. See you there. This is Dr. Gerald Thompson. Your Health Matters signing off. Good evening and good night.
People's Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical, skin and body care needs. Located on Grenville Street in Kingstown. They open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Call them today at 784-456-1170. People's Pharmacy also stock vitamins and supplements.